Hey guys, back again. How's it going? I'm back here with Claudia. You guys may have known her from our previous videos. In the very first video we did, we actually shot Claudia with the Milvus 15mm f1.4 and the Milvus 135mm f2. So I want to revisit the Milvus series versus the classic Zeiss 15mm f1.4. So you got two 50mm attaching with the Canon EF to RF adapter to the Canon EOS R. So what we'll be focusing on is the sharpness, the bokeh of these two lenses in the center performance, the corner performance at f1.4, f2.8, and also, let's say, f5.6. So I'll just do it three different ways: center, left, right, and three different apertures: f1.4, 2.8, 5.6. And we'll just get creative. We've got this amazing environment, and we've got Claudia here, and she's amazing at modeling. So if you'd like to get in touch with her, follow her. Her details will be below. Let's get started.
Let's go.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to be comparing the images that I've shot that's been lightly edited so you guys can see the differences between the classic Zeiss and the Milvus. For those who don't want to watch the whole 8 minutes, it's quite long. The Milvus is the sharper lens and the classic is a bit of an older design and slightly more blurry. I don't want to give out the other characteristics, so you'll just have to watch it and see which one is which. But in the next video, I'll explain my thoughts on my favorite images from the shoot, and I hope you guys enjoy the video.
So you got two images here. 1, 2. Can you guys guess straight out which one's which? Which one's is the Milvus and which one is the classic? 1, 2. So let's just zoom in. Zoom in on the other one as well. Wait for it to load. See any clear differences? Zoom in, 100%. Now go 400. So now when you go 400%, it's apparent that the left image is a lot sharper and the right one is a bit more blurry. So you can probably guess by that the first one is the Milvus and the second one is the classic. But when you look at it as a whole, you can't tell which one's which. It's only when you zoom in. Our second example, 1, 2. So here I was testing f1.4. As you can see down below, f1.4 in the top region on the left hand side. See how it handles that. And you can kind of see very clearly that this one here is a bit more blurry compared to this one over here. So again, let's just look at it side by side. Zoom in 100%, zoom in 100%. Milvus on the left, classic on the right. And yeah, Milvus is definitely a lot sharper. So yeah, I guess towards the sides of the frame, shooting at 1.4, the classic Zeiss really does fail slightly. Now looking at this image, can you guys tell which one's the classic and which one is the Milvus? Let's take a look closely. So this is testing at 2.8, roughly the center frame. And at 2.8, both images are quite sharp. If you have a look closely, the one on the right has a bit more color definition, a bit more clarity. So let's just have a look at 400% as we can. And they both look pretty good. They both look pretty good. Just looking at this, just by looking at the eye, the right side is slightly sharper and the right side is the Milvus. It's very little difference, very little difference. Here I was testing f5.6. Can you guys guess which one's which? Which one is the classic and which one is the Milvus? So basically by 5.6, every lens should be very, very sharp. Very, very sharp, very, very sharp. And the rendering looks very, very similar when you've got sun coming into your model. And just for your reference, the left is the classic and the right is the Milvus. Very, very interesting. Here I was testing sun flares, so shooting at f1.4. Can you guys guess which one is the classic and which one is the Milvus? So let's zoom in. So here again, just roughly testing center frame, and they're both okay. They're both okay. They're both very, very similar. I might have misshot the Milvus, but looking at this, both very, very similar. Last time we shot at f1.4, you could really tell at 400%. Let's see. Very, very similar. Very, very similar. Sorry to do that to Claudia. But yeah, the left side is the Milvus and the right side is the classic Zeiss. So let's try it again. Now this time at f1.4 one more time, and roughly center frame. The images are a lot smaller in the right version, so just take note of that. So let's just zoom in. Slightly blurrier and a bit more sharp there. 400%, 400%. And yeah, the left side is slightly sharper. So yeah, the left side is the Milvus, but when you look at it as a whole, you really can't tell. When you shoot a raw image, you can tell slightly, but after you edit it, it's very, very difficult. Again, left and right. Can you guys tell which one is a classic and which one is a Milvus? Zoom in, zoom in. 400%, 400%. Very similar, hey? Very, very similar. This is amazing how similar it is after you edit it. At f1.4, the right side is the Milvus, left side is the classic Zeiss. Let's look at another example. Left, right, again both shot at f1.4. Zoom in 100%. They're both somewhat sharpish. Pretty amazing, right? Again, I might have shot the Milvus slightly differently. Might have misfocused slightly, but the left is the Milvus and the right is the classic, and they look pretty much identical. Where I see the differences is it kind of gives it away, but the rendering of the bokeh. So when you look at the background here, the Milvus trees are a lot more smoother, whereas the classic Zeiss rendering is a bit more vintagey. It's a bit more messy, I should say. So you definitely see a difference there in the bokeh. And the last image, again shot at f1.4. Let's zoom in, zoom in. Which one's which? Zoom in again, zoom in again. Just waiting for it to load. Similar, 1.4. Crazy, isn't it? Just for the record, left is the Milvus and right is the classic Zeiss. And then let's just look at the bokeh again. So when you look at this and when you look at this, you can tell that this one is a bit more messy. And if you don't mind that look, or if you like that look, then the classic is great. If you're wanting to buy one of these two lenses, the Milvus is definitely is a bit more clinically sharp and a bit better with the flare. So again, Milvus is on the right, slightly better. Again, you can see the bokeh rendering right in the background. The right side to Milvus is very smooth. The left side is very classic, very vintagey. So if you don't mind paying 2 times more for the smooth bokeh, I'll get the Milvus. If you're just worried about the foreground rendering of the model or subject, then both are honestly fine. If you're going for the vintage look, then the classic Zeiss is definitely where it's at. I prefer smoother bokeh, so I like the Milvus look better. And let's just go through a few more images now that you've noticed the bokeh differences. So can you guys guess which one's which? Left is actually the Milvus, and right is the classic Zeiss. So you can kind of see here in the tree leaves here, it's a bit more busy compared to this one here.
I hope you guys enjoyed that detailed comparison, and yeah, enjoy. Let me know if you have any questions. They're both beautiful lenses. The classic Zeiss, as a quick summary, is less blurry, however still sharp when looked as a whole and looks slightly more 3D. The Milvus is definitely sharper, has better contrast, has better flare control, and it somewhat pops more with smoother bokeh in the background. They're both very different lenses. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and talk to you soon.